Good morning, everyone. My name is Hassani Pettiford. Welcome to the Couples Academy show. As you could tell, I'm in a different environment. I'm actually traveling today right next to the airport, and I had to find a little getaway. I'm in a little room. I don't know how the Wi-Fi is. There's an echo in the room, but I'm so committed to giving you guys some information today. I had to sacrifice and do what I needed to do. So this is unconventional, but we're going to get through this. So if you can hear me, I just want you to put in the chat, I can hear you, I can hear you, I can hear you. All right. We're talking today about the 8 non-sexual attractions that cause affairs. We're talking about that. And really, it's a continuation of what we just began on yesterday when we were talking about the 3 components of an emotional affair. Okay. And if you remember, we talked about how emotional intimacy, secrecy, and sexual energy are those 3 components. Thank you so much. And so these are 3 legs of a stool which contribute to an emotional affair. Okay. Now, there's a lot of similarities in terms of contributors that lead to emotional affairs as well as full-blown physical sexual affairs. But I think it's important that we really talk about the fact that the drive, the intensity, the hunger, the passion, the willingness to cross boundaries and go through barriers and to risk it all oftentimes has very little to do with sex. See, that wasn't the drive. It led to sex, but that wasn't the initial attraction. And so oftentimes in the discovery phase, when a spouse is trying to figure out why their spouse cheated, the number one question becomes, well, were you attracted to her? Or was the sex better than mine? Or did you like his body? Did you like her body? Everything is physical. Everything is sexual, and it's an obvious question to ask. It's a logical question to ask because there was a sexual element to their interaction. But in most instances, that is not the drive. That is not what initiates, okay, the affair. And so we want to talk about these 8 non-sexual attractions, and then we're going to get into some questions that came yesterday and answer your questions from today. But let me start off by saying that usually when you enter into an affair, it is because there is an immediate and passionate attraction that you have for another person. And what's interesting is this: what attracts you to one person is different than what attracts you to another. Okay. So, for instance, when I think about my wife is beautiful. I'm attracted to her beauty, but I'm also attracted to her amazing personality. That was a drive. That is what drew me in. But when it comes to Sarah, I'm attracted to her smile. Oh my God. Every time she smiles, it's just something lights up on the inside of me. But Susie over here, this one, oh man, this woman can dress. I mean, she dresses to the hilt, from the top of her head to the soles of her feet. Everything is so meticulous. Her style, the grace in which she carries herself, that becomes very attractive to me. But when it comes to Mary, it's all about her personality, right? She just has an amazing personality, an amazing sense of humor. Oh my God, she just makes me laugh. I just can't stop laughing. I'm laughing just thinking about Mary. You see? The one thing about Jane, she has this take charge disposition, and I just love it. That always attracted me, like a woman with strength, a woman who takes charge. That assertiveness, that aggressiveness, man, is such a turn on. Now, the one thing about Sarah, she just has this fun-loving spirit, right? She's just so pleasant to be around. She always has a smile on her face. Things are always so light and so bright, and it really draws me in. So as you can see, think about crayons in a crayon box. You have different colors. You have blue, you have red, you have yellow, you have green. You have all these different colors. Now, just because you find one attractive or useful doesn't mean that you don't find the others attractive or useful. Likewise, when it comes to attractions, there is no one dimensional approach. Like, this is the only thing I'm attracted to. And so that speaks to the complexity. That speaks to the vulnerability that we often feel. when it comes to our spouse, because what we thought was the drive and the attraction, you find out it was something so completely different. And that's what makes this thing so comprehensive. And so when you're talking to a counselor or when you're following somebody on social media and they have these very simplistic, overgeneralized reasons and rationalizations for why people do what they do, please turn them off. Don't listen to them because, yes, everything is not so black and white. There are shades of gray. Okay. And so these are different types of attractions. Now, the interesting thing about attractions drive the affair, but if other components aren't in place, it will lead to a streaking halt when it comes to the potential of a partnership or relationship with that person. So let me explain. Though there's a strong attraction here, there are certain obvious things that would keep you from ever being qualified to be with me in a long-term relationship. Like, for instance, you know, your financial situation, you're just not financially stable. You can't keep a job. It seems like you go from one job to the next. Like there's no stability financially, and that would not make a good spouse or partner in life. And so while I can engage in an affair with you, well, we're not sharing bills. We're not making financial decisions. So I can use you in this space, but you would never fit into this space. Does that make sense? Maybe there are religious beliefs. Maybe there are cultural differences that you wouldn't fit into my family dynamic. We're Christians. You happen to be a Muslim. This could never work. Okay. I'm a Republican. You're a Democrat. We have two different political views. This could never work. Now, in an affair, it doesn't matter because we're not pulling levers together. We're not making life decisions together. We're not raising children together. So none of those things come into play. But as it relates to the affair, it's all game. So are you seeing what's happening here? So attractions, if we don't learn how to properly manage our own attractions for things, we could find ourselves in all types of trouble. So we want to talk about what these attractions are. And even though, once again, these relationships become sexual, sex oftentimes is not the drive. So let's go through the first one. The first attraction, we have to understand this concept called developmental lag. Okay, I want you to write that down. Developmental lag. Now, developmental lag is when a person ages too quickly. Okay, so examples of why or how a person can age too quickly. Imagine you as a child, you grew up in a household, you didn't have two parents. It was just mom or there was just dad. So you were raised by one parent, which means that there was a deficit. You had brothers and sisters, but you were the oldest. And so you were responsible for taking care of everyone. Maybe you weren't the oldest, maybe you were the middle child, maybe you were the youngest, but there was something about you that you were identified as the responsible one. And so now you had to support your parent by helping to maintain civility, to protect, to provide, to give support and encouragement, to help raise the other siblings. So you were robbed of your childhood. You had to grow up and you had to become mature and you had to be precocious. And so the natural journey that most kids have, you did not have. Or maybe there was an addiction in the home, right? Dad was an alcoholic. Mom was a drug addict. And so because of that, so much tension, so much of focus, so much confusion was taking place in the home, and so much focus was placed on that parent or that sibling with that addiction that it consumed all of the time, and we never went to the park. We never went on vacations. We never lived a normal life. I couldn't invite friends over. I couldn't go to friends' house. Like all these things were taking place and I was robbed of something. And so therefore, there were gaps in my development, right? So here I am today, a 35-year-old man, but I still have a 12-year-old developmental process within me. There's still a boy on the inside of me, right? So now I'm an adult. And because I had to be responsible as a kid, because I was robbed of my childhood for so long, I now, as a 35-year-old person, I'm not attracted to responsibilities. I want to free myself from that. I've been doing that since I was a kid. I want to have fun. I want to go back into my childhood. I want to be free. And so I want to do things that kids do. I want to be carefree. I want to enjoy myself. And so what happens is my role as a husband and a father, I now want to escape. Oftentimes, people engage in affairs not because they're in pursuit of someone else, they're in pursuit of another side of themselves that they have not been able to experience. Did you hear that? I'm not in pursuit of her. I'm in pursuit of a side of myself that has either been suppressed or a side of myself that I've never experienced because it was robbed from me. So now I'm a grown adult, but I want to go to the club. I'm a grown adult, but I find myself around younger people. And so there's something in me that's drawn and attracted to the logical thing that I should be avoiding. Are you following me? So this developmental lag creates an unhealthy attraction for other things that I should have outgrown by now. Okay, so this speaks to the complexity. Yeah, somebody's saying that's deep. It is deep. It's a really deep thing. And so what happens is a lot of times people are engaging in these affairs, and the question that the spouse asks is, well, why did you do it? And a lot of times a person can't figure it out. They don't know why. They can't put those pieces together. Or they have such a surface understanding as to the why that it's just not resonating with them, it's not resonating with their spouse, and so they remain stuck. And so then when I come into the fold and I begin to unpack these components, when I begin to unpack these type of attractions, all of a sudden it starts to make sense. Because now I can articulate something that they struggle to they struggle to speak on. And now I'm connecting dots for them. So that's the first attraction that we're talking about. Let's go to the next attraction. Well, the next attraction is, matter of fact, this is interesting. Well, were you attracted to her? I mean, she was okay. You know, he wasn't all that. And so oftentimes the spouse thinks that you're lying. The spouse thinks that you're minimizing. Why don't you just own the fact that you were sexually drawn to him or sexually drawn to her? Well, truth be told, it wasn't about sex. It wasn't about a physical attraction. Matter of fact, when I look at the person, I'm like, they're really not my type. So how did I wind up in this scenario? Think about this, guys. I was thinking about this on the way to the airport. Think about Beauty and the Beast. How did that happen? How did this beautiful woman fall in love with this beast? I mean, physically speaking, there would be no way in the world that there would be any type of mutual attraction in this scenario. Because it wasn't about the physical. The second type of attraction we see is what we call personality styles. A personality style. Okay? So an individual marries a spouse with a personality that's very different from their dangerous partner profile. Okay? So my spouse has a completely different personality than the one that I find myself attracted to. Now, what happens is um, we typically marry our opposite sex parent, right? That's a thing. So let's just say, for instance, my mom was a nurturer. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She cared for us. She took care of us. She cooked. She cleaned. She did all these wonderful things. And so now I seek out in a spouse what I experienced from my mom in the home. And so that's what I married. But there's something about this other person. There's something about their personality style. I kind of alluded to it before. Maybe they're business minded. Mom wasn't business minded because mom raised us, right? She made wonderful cakes and pies, and holidays were amazing, and vacations were awesome. And she was there for me. She came to all my football games and my basketball games. But, she was there. But she didn't work. She didn't have a career. But this one over here, man, she's just so sharp and so witty. She's so take charge. She's entrepreneurial. And I love that. She has a personality style that draws me in, has nothing to do with the physical, but something that I feel that I'm missing, not something that's better than my wife, something that's different from my wife. Understand, it's not about better, it's about different. I'm searching for something new and I'm searching for something different. Maybe this person represents and reflects a past lover. When I was in high school, I had my girlfriend, and my girlfriend had a certain type of way about her. And I see elements of that in this person. And when I see her, I'm actually seeing my ex. And there's something that's familiar. There's something that's attractive because I was attracted to my ex, and but we're no longer together. But I see that same thing in you, that same element, that same component, and that's what draws me in. You see, maybe I have a crush, right, on somebody on TV, right, and I have a perceived idea of what their personality is like, and I find those components because, man, you look just like her. Oh my God, you just have this swag just like her, and that's highly attractive. It's not about the physical, but there's things that we can attach to that are familiar. Let me give you another example of a personality style. A woman marries a cop just like her dad, right? But she always wanted somebody who worked for the government, as an example, right? And so she finds that in a person, and that's the draw that brings her in. Maybe this strong, independent woman that I married leaves me with no space to play a significant role in my home, and so I find myself attracted to someone who's needy, someone who's submissive, someone who's willing to comply, someone who's not willing to buck up against every thought that I have and every decision that I make. Like the strength that I was initially attracted to now becomes a turnoff. And now I want someone who needs me because I don't feel needed. I don't feel wanted. I don't feel like I have a role in my home. But this one, because she's dependent, because she's always in a struggle, and I can provide for her, and I can give her comfort, and I could be her engine number 9. I could become her hero, her knight in shining armor. It makes me feel a certain way as a man. I feel as a man with this affair partner in a way that I don't feel with my spouse. See how deep this thing is? It's so much beyond a sexual attraction. And if we truly understand this, man, oh God, breakthrough will come and healing will come because now we know what to focus on. Let's go to the third attraction. The third attraction are what we call hobbies and interests. Right? It's an individual who shares similar interests to yours. Because guess what? Now you have something to immediately talk about. And this is often something that you have very little interest with your spouse. Like real talk, I love football. I mean, I love it. I could watch it, 7 days a week. And my wife cannot stand it. And anytime she hears football in the background or sees football on the screen, she immediately walks in the other room. She won't sit down with me. She won't watch a game with me. She doesn't inquire. She won't go to a game with me. None of it. But this one here, Tasha, this woman knows football better than I do. She knows stats. She knows players. She knows teams. She knows history. She goes to games. I mean, she is a lover of the sport, and we have something instantly to talk about. There's an instant connection. There's something that we both relate to. See, a relationship is simply two people relating to the same thing. And I can get lost in conversation with Tasha because, man, she knows how to reach my heart because she knows football is my passion. And the more she talks about my passion, the more I become passionate about her. This is deep, guys. I'm just scratching the surface. I hope that you're getting something out of this because there's a lot of depth to this. And this may have to be a 2-part series because there's so many layers I can go to, and we're just on number 3. And what I want to do really quickly, I want to go to a quick commercial break. Just stay tuned. Listen, there is a Foundry experience that's coming up in January, the end of January. You need to be a part of that. If you haven't heard of it, watch the video, click the link, call us up. Let's get you registered. It's going to be an amazing event, but stay right there. We're going to come back with a few more attractions. Be right back.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
When 45 men from all walks of life come together in one place for one purpose, there is a collective harmony that produces an amplification of power that leaves an impact on the lives of men that cannot be erased. A fraternity of legendary men, all at the tipping point, on the precipice of greatness, meeting for one weekend to turn their worlds inside out. Now in its second year, the Foundry Experience, not an event, not a seminar or retreat, but an opportunity to come face to face with the man that you were always destined to be. If you want a life that's better than the one that you are living, meet us January 2024 for the Foundry Experience. Guys, welcome back. You're watching the Couples Academy show. If you're just tuning in, I am in a undisclosed location. I'm traveling close to the airport. I had to sneak away in a room just to be able to do the show. Listen, there was a couple questions that came in from yesterday and today. I want to quickly get to them, and we'll continue in these attractions today, tomorrow. But the question is, have you experienced a cultural difference in normalizing affairs? I know you just returned from Lagos not too long ago. What has your experience been in certain cultures in terms of the woman thing? Now, interestingly enough, I said this time and time again, we work with people all over the world: Africa, Central America, Latin world, Europe, the Caribbean. And so no particular Arab world, no particular culture has a monopoly on infidelity. It's happening everywhere. However, there are certain cultural norms that make it more culturally acceptable. Not, and so what I have found, and I don't want to point out particular countries, but there are many countries that really have cheating built into the collective consciousness of the people. And it's almost like, why are you tripping? You knew what it was when you married me. This is what we do. We have our wives and our mistresses on the side. So it's not even a thought like, man, I'm sinning, I'm doing something wrong, I'm betraying trust. It's deal with it. It is what it is. And if you can't deal with it, then move on. So I think that there are certain groups of people, and I don't want to identify everyone in that group in terms of having this philosophy, but there is a societal norm that we see in different parts of the world where it's very casual and cavalier in terms of how they view fidelity. There's not a lot of value placed on fidelity. There's more value placed on commitment. And what I mean by that is, and we'll do a teaching on this, the different types of commitment. But how I define and see commitment is different than how you define and see it. And so if we don't have the same understanding of what commitment is, then we're going to have a problem. There are many men who think, yes, I'm committed, but I cheat because they don't look at fidelity as a form of commitment. They look at, I'm still here. I didn't leave. I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere, as a form of commitment. And so it really devastates their spouses and has a tremendous impact on their marriage and on their family. So that's how I would answer that question. There was another question that said, yeah, my husband had a sexual affair and he wants to make the marriage work. And he has cried to me, but I don't know how to erase his actions from my mind. This right here speaks to triggers, right? Triggers, where I am emotionally triggered by a memory, by an external stimulus, by my spouse. and the affair is over, but I don't know what to do with these thoughts. And these thoughts haunt me, and I'm trapped in these bad memories, and I'm haunted by the ghosts of my past, and I don't know what to do. And so this is why we say there's individual healing work that you have to do. When you work with us one-on-one, we guide you through a process. One of the things that we do, and I've shared this countless times, we have this thought journal, okay, where we dig inside of your mind and look at your mental constructs. We look at your thought patterns. We look at the thoughts that you are holding on to that are reverberating in your mind each and every day. Now, of course, we think 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day, random thoughts in many different directions. But there are those dominating thoughts. And the more you think something, the more you experience it in your life. It's just like when you think about a past experience, even though it happened 10 years ago, if you think about it long enough and meditate on it long enough, it's almost like you're re-experiencing it in the moment. You feel what you felt, right? And so that speaks to the power of the mind and the power of the imagination. And so we take you through a process where we kind of release all of these thoughts, put them on table, we analyze them, and then we replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts that begin to reshift and reshape how you think, which will then impact how you feel. Because the root of every negative feeling is a negative thought. The root of every positive feeling is a positive thought. So in order to manage our emotions, we've got to begin to control our mind. And so the techniques we take people through will help you to do that. So if you're struggling, please reach out to us. We did a 5-hour masterclass on overcoming emotional triggers. If you don't have that, you need to get that. Or maybe you need to work one-on-one with someone to guide you through a process so that you can experience breakthrough. But your attempt to do it on your own and listen, engaging in self-care. I go to the gym, I get a massage, I get my hair, my toes and my nails done. Like, that's not helping your trigger. That's nice because you're taking care of you, but that is not contributing to your healing process. And unless you're directly addressing where you have your greatest weakness, it will remain until you do something about it. And if you don't know what to do about it, come to us. Listen, guys, forgive me, but I got to run. There's a lot going on, but I wanted to give you a dose. Tomorrow, I'm going to continue in the other non-sexual attractions that lead to an affair. If you've enjoyed this, please come back tomorrow. Press that like and subscribe button. Let's build this community. There's so much I have for you, but it takes your partnership with me to get this message out. Love you guys. Hope you got something out of today's message. We will see you tomorrow for another great episode. Take care.